Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure and honor to have Mr. Jason Walmsley, more affectionately known as Jay to us, for our interview today. So as you all know, I'm Herek. I interview entrepreneurs so that we can all learn together from their experiences and what are the challenges that they have went through so that aspiring entrepreneurs like you can actually learn from them and avoid pitfalls that you all may be facing right now, right? Okay, so without further ado, let us invite Mr. Jason Walmsley.
Hi, Herek. How are you?
Hi, Jason. I'm great. Thank you. I appreciate your time very much. And
No,
it's really,
thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to have a chat.
it's my honor to have you, Jay. Okay, so Jay, as an introduction to our audiences, would you like to tell them what do you do and how do you help your clients?
So, Network Educate Invite is a business support program that we put together for the small to medium, even the micro business marketplace. Business out there is very, very tough. And unfortunately, there's a lot of noise out there in the marketplace of people that tell you, I can help you, but I want money, I want money, I want money. And you can get very, very confused as a small business owner. And I've been running my own businesses now for about 30 years. And I've learned from experience, I've lost a lot of money paying these people for these ideas that are supposed to be the greatest thing. And I just kept looking. I'm very passionate about helping those small businesses. And what's happened over the last couple of years with COVID and with the embracement of technology and where we're up to today, there is a massive influx of misinformation coming out there. And there's a lot of people that have lost their jobs because of COVID. And in Australia, just as a perfect example, in a normal year, there's normally about 100,000 new business registrations every single year. In the last 6 months of 29, hold on, where are we up to now? 2020, because we've gone into 2022 now, there was over 200,000 new businesses registered just in that 6-month period. And half of those hadn't registered for what we call government surplus tax, GST, over here. And so what that meant is they were a business that had no intention of earning more than $75,000 a year. So their business was probably only going to bring the same amount of money they could have as a wage. It's more of a hobby business, or it's a business that's just starting up. So there is a huge marketplace out there of businesses that want this information, but where are they going to find it? So you can go on a Facebook, you can go on a YouTube, you can subscribe to newsletters, and you'll spend 10, 20 hours a week trying to go through all of this stuff to pick out what might be all right for you. Or you end up paying somebody a lot of money to give you information that a lot of it won't be relevant to you. The idea of the Network Educate Invite platform was to create a business support program where people like myself, business owners, that we've been there, we've done that, and we're all pretty much up to date in the digital world. We understand what's going on out there. And that is to help these businesses and give them the information in one place for free, where they can come in and just pick and choose the information that's there for them. So that was the idea behind the Network Educate Invite concept. Create a network of like-minded business owners that are not only helping themselves, but are helping new business owners come up and understand the pitfalls and the issues that they're going to have a lot quicker than they would do doing it on their own.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic, Jason. I can totally resonate with that because when I stepped into this digital marketing scene, right, it was so confusing. And you know, a lot of marketers, they are just selling pieces of the puzzle. It's like one piece here, one piece there. We can't get the full picture. Do you agree?
Absolutely. One of the biggest problems that you've got with marketers, and my background is sales and marketing, and you watch all this stuff going through on Facebook, and you're right, these people are only selling a little piece.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do something like Facebook advertising, 95% of people will tell you that Facebook advertising doesn't work. It does, but it doesn't work for the small business owner. For Facebook to work, you need to be spending thousands of dollars a month on ad spend to get a return on the investment. Throwing $100 a week at it, it's not going to work for you. It's all about touch points, getting in front of you. You need to have so much noise there on Facebook to get noticed. And that's what these marketers rely on. They know that you need to be spending probably close to at least $1,000 a month to try and get any form of traction coming from Facebook. And they're getting a commission on that. Yeah, but they don't care if you're a new business and you've only got $1,000 as a marketing budget for a whole year. They want that $1,000. But marketing goes way beyond Facebook. And what we do in NEI is we help people market without having to spend those advertising dollars. We show them other ways that you can actually do it. Spend an extra couple of hours a week doing something and save yourself a few $100s.
Fantastic. I wish I've known NEI much earlier. So thanks for having me on the platform as well.
Oh, it's good to have you there. The more people that are there, the better. Yeah, because we all want to learn off each other.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. So Jay, so if we go back to memory lane, right? So how did your entrepreneur journey start? Because you are involved in a lot of different business ventures, right?
Yeah, I'm a career salesman. So I've always been a salesman. I've worked for other companies. I've built my own companies and worked it that way. And that's the key thing for any business. You have to be able to sell. And a lot of people say, I want to run my own business, but I can't sell. Well, you better learn how to sell, because if nobody's giving you money, you're wasting your time actually having a business. But through being a career salesman, and I've always worked in that B2B space, the business to business. I've never really dealt with consumers. I learned a lot about businesses, and I'm one of those people that I always wanted to get the whole story from my client. And so I've just over the years gained experience about what has worked for some businesses, what has worked for others. But just like a typical salesman, I'll work for somebody for a couple of years, I'll get bored, I move on to another job. And eventually I just got to the point, I got fed up of doing this. I found I got bored very easily just working for somebody as a salesman. So once my network expanded and once my skill sets had gone up, and I was always doing online courses and everything like that, I realized that all I needed to do was find a niche marketplace that would help people. And that's where NEI came up. So NEI itself, even though it's only been an online platform for probably 7 months now, 6-7 months, it's a concept that I've been working on as a salesperson for 10 years. And it's just about, it's what it's called. You build yourself a network, you educate that network, and you invite that network. And I look at other businesses I tried to build prior to coming up with this concept, never worked. Once I actually came up with this concept, it was a lot easier to do. And running a business, at the end of the day, it's all down to process. You need to have a process. Your marketing needs to have a process. Your sales need to have a process. Your customer service needs to have a process. Once you understand those processes, your business will take off as long as you've got the commitment to do it.
Makes a lot of sense there. It's about all processes and systems, right?
Oh, look, and it is. It's all about systems. I mean, when you first start your own business, you can do a lot of it on your own. As you start to become more involved in the business, you're more customer focused, you need something else to do that. Whether you're employing a virtual assistant to do that, or I've got 2 virtual assistants to help me run this. But still, 90% of the work that is done through NEI is done through an automated process. Yeah, somebody logs into NEI and books into an event. We don't have to pick up the phone and confirm that they're coming. The system automatically sends them an email. The system then automatically logs the fact in our CRM that they have booked in for that event. The system then automatically, 24 hours before the event, will send them out another email, or it will send them out a text. And it's those sort of systems you've just got in play. A very good friend of mine, a gentleman called Cale Holiday, who's helped me build this, once said to me, when a rocket takes off to go up into space, it uses 90% of its fuel just to get off the ground. Yeah. Once it's got off the ground, it's plain sailing. And that's the same in your business. You've got to get momentum, but that all your energy is going to be in that first, get it off the ground and get it going. And if you've got that and your systems are all in place, you'll go the rest of the way just on 10%.
Ooh. So can you tell us how much has your social environment influenced your decision to go into entrepreneurship?
So NEI, 100, when we decided to set it up as an online platform, it was 100% because of the social environment. So it was a case of finding a niche out there in the marketplace. Career salesman, I will go to 3, 4, 5 networking events every single week. That's where I make my contacts. That's how I expand my network. COVID hit. And in New South Wales, where I am, we had 4 months that you weren't even allowed outside the front door. So what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And that's when I went, well, why don't I create this platform? So the whole business, if COVID hadn't have locked us down, would probably have never even got off the ground, because I would have never thought about it. And it was just lucky that technology had caught up to where it needed to be for it to be successful. And the social environment was, you can't go outside the door. So because of those two factors, I had to come up with something to keep building my personal network. Technology was there and in play. Let's put it together. And we created the Network Educate Invite platform.
Cool. But when you get started, right, how did you decide what niche do you want to go into and who you want to serve?
Right. I hate to say this. This is a very cliched term. But if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, that's true.
And it's very cliche. It's used by a lot of coaches, but it's a true thing. And so I absolutely love what I do. I love connecting with people. I love helping people. I see business owners that have, even in 6 months, that have come through our platform, that have taken themselves from doing a few $1,000s a month to making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, because they've got this. It just gives me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. I love what I do. I also love the fact that I'm not accountable to anybody else. That's always a big thing as well, that you're not answerable to anybody. You still need somebody as an accountability buddy. So you need a coach. And look, I'm a qualified business coach, but I still have a coach. I need a coach, because I need somebody I've got to go to at the end of the week and say, this is what we did. And he'll say, so what are you going to do next week? But because I love what I do, it's not like I'm working at all. It's really good.
So what were the top challenges that you faced during your building up as an entrepreneur?
So look, the biggest challenges you do face is misinformation. Yeah, you jump on Google and you'll type something in. You'll type in, best Facebook ads, pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, and only 1% of it is going to be any good for you. And it's the same when you follow newsletters, when you see things on YouTube, watch lists. It's an absolute nightmare out there trying to get through the minefield of information and find the right information. So that's the biggest thing. So when, and I'm always going to use NEI as an example. So with NEI, my biggest issue was I knew that I had to create automated systems, because I'm one man. I can't do all of it. And when you start off, you don't have the money to be able to pay other people to come in and help. I needed to know what systems I needed that would be the most effective, most reliable, and they do what I need them to do. They don't break down, and they don't cost an absolute fortune. And that's where my coach came in. And my coach went, okay, what CRM are you using? We looked at the CRM. We then went, okay, you need to use a thing called Twilio, which allows you to have your phone connected, send texts out. You need to have email marketing. You need this, you need this. You need to be able to use Zapier. So we looked at the CRM that I was using and went, well, this will not integrate this. So we had to change the CRM to one that we knew would. Yeah. And we had to find a platform that we knew we could put all those in together, and we could have the NEI platform in one place that would give us the information back that we actually needed. So NEI sits on a platform that's called Mighty Networks. It's sort of like Facebook without the noise. But when you've got people in a group in Facebook, as a business owner, you have no information from them. You don't know who they are. Yeah. Whereas in Network, Educate, Invite, I've got your name and at least I've got your email and I can contact you. Yeah. So the biggest issue was not coming up with the product. The biggest issue was coming up with the systems and then working out a future plan. Because what we said is, once we've got the systems built in, where can we take this? We had to set targets, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There's another analogy that everybody uses, but it's true. So we had to sit there and go, what do we plan to get out of this in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? How many members do we want? And how many of those members do we want to take on to a point that we can actually sell them additional stuff? Because that's where we make the money. NEI is free, but inside there are courses you can do to take you that little bit higher and a little bit above. So we have to sit down and go, well, this is what it's going to cost over 12 months with staffing levels. So this is the amount of money that we need to bring in. That's what we call in sales bare ass minimum. That's what needs to come in or we go bankrupt. And then this is the profit we want to be able to make out of it. So the forward planning was probably one of the hardest parts. The hardest thing that we had to do is make sure we did have what I call an accountability buddy. I had to find the right coach. Because if you don't have the right coach that does, you know yourself, a coach doesn't have the answers, but a coach knows how to ask you the right questions. And you have to be on the same wavelength as your coach. So I was lucky that I found a coach that, one, knew the systems I would need. Two, was on the same wavelength as I was. And number three, saw the same potential as I did with it and believed in the product as much as I did. So they're the hardest things to do, because there are going to be times where you want to give up. There are some days, I say I love my job, and I do. I'm going to use as a perfect example. I had a few issues yesterday with a client. It was the worst day in 6 months. I just couldn't get it right. They were just so unhappy. Things were not coming in. I wanted to just walk away. I rang my coach, and my coach went, this is where you want to go. This is what you've already done. This is where you're up to. Keep it. Okay, no worries. So I got up this morning, fresh head. So mindset plays a lot, and you always need somebody to bounce off. And if that person that you can bounce off, never recommend using a partner. Oh, good God, no. Yeah, I've seen people, husband and wife businesses, and I shake my head. It's like, just be careful, okay? Because there's too many things in play. But if you can, finding a good coach is the most important thing, because if you get a good coach, most of the things that you are going to find difficult, he will make them easy, or she will. Your coach will make them easy.
Yeah, sure. So sounds like it's very difficult to get a good fit of a coach, right? So could you share what are the processes that you went to find a good coach for yourself?
I was very lucky in the fact that I know a lot of coaches, because my background is working with small and medium businesses. I knew a lot of coaches, but what my process was, first of all, was to ask for recommendations. getting a coach off Facebook or off Google. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they do. It's about researching them. So, if you're an aspiring coach out there, I would say to you, work for free for a little bit to build up a referral base. And these people will then start referring you. And if people want to know about you, they can talk to them. But it was all about research. So I could honestly say I would know well over 100 business coaches, well over. I also know myself, because I did the coaching training, the personality type that I would need. I am a very strong, and a lot of people would say arrogant person. A lot of coaches could not work with me. Yeah, so I need somebody that was strong and understood how I thought, what my modalities were. So I was sort of lucky to a point that I knew how I wanted to be managed. But at the end of the day, it's about that connection. Yeah, you could have Anthony Robbins as a coach, but if there's no connection, you've wasted your money. Find a coach that you trust, and you know that if they turn around and say you're doing something wrong, you listen to them. And that's what I did. I asked for referrals, even though I knew all these people. I asked. The coach I took on gave me referrals to 3 other people. And I went, no, you are the guy that I actually want. And it's just about researching and making sure you have that connection. You don't pick up the phone and go, hey, mate, can you business coach me? You've got to have 2, 3, 4 meetings with that coach and make sure that connection's there. And if that connection's there, then fantastic, go with it.
So just now you also mentioned something about the mindset. So besides loving what you do, what are the other kinds of mindset that you have that pushes you and motivates you every day to make sure that you succeed?
Look, it goes back to a little bit about being arrogant. I'm right, and I know I'm right. But also you've got to have a little bit of humility in there. And that's when your relationship with your coach is very, very good. And the people that you surround yourself with will always work with you on your mindset. So, I mean, since we started in July, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 7 people working for Network Educate Invite in different roles. And we've got 5 of those that actually help me run sessions and groups and networking. They're all coaches. And so by working with these guys, I trust these guys. So if they turn around to me and say, I think we should look at doing this, I will listen to them. So I've still got that humility of okay, I know you know what you're talking about, so I'll listen. If somebody I don't know says it, it's like, yeah, go away. And you've got to have that mixture in business. You have to have that arrogance that I know what I'm doing, and that high achieving reach that you want. If you go to bed at the end of the night, no matter whether you're arrogant, whether you're humble, if you've achieved what you set off in the morning to do, you will wake up the next morning and want to come back to work. So you've got to have those targets and make sure you meet those targets. And again, that goes down to having a good coach or a set of coaches around you so that you don't set your targets too high. I see a lot of businesses go, I've just started a business. I want to make $1 million in the first year. Yeah, right. Come on, go away. Okay. Not going to happen. All right. Or I want to run my own business and I want to spend more time with my family. Yeah. Not for the next 2-3 years. It's not going to happen because you've got to put everything into your business. But you know, you've got to have that arrogance, and you've got to have those targets, and you've got to have the humility to know when people not only are right, but they're thinking about you as well. Yeah. So, you know, that's again, so it comes down to surrounding the right people, because if you're surrounded by negative, toxic people, you can't get your mindset in the right position. Yeah, and you need to get up in the morning. You need to know what it is you need to do. If you're no good at time management, you'll soon work out how to get time management. If you say, I have to do this before I go to bed, you will find a way of actually doing it. So mindset is a major part in any business owners. I have good days, I have bad days, but I get to the end of the day, I've achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. I'm back up the next morning, 100% straight back into it.
That's very good advice. So Jay, you mentioned something about surrounding ourselves with good people and non-toxic people, right? So a common question that people ask is, what happens if those toxic people are part of our family? We can't choose our family, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, this goes back to my coaching training, and during the coaching training, because you do your life coaching training, then you do your business coaching training, and one of the things in the life coaching training is, look, you're not going to change your family.
Yeah, definitely.
But you can change your attitude and you can change how you react to it. If your Auntie Susan has a go at you because you look stupid in that red dress, so it's only her opinion. Does it really matter? And it's about how you react to situations. So it's a little different in a business scenario, because toxic people in a business can affect the business. And so you have to be very, in a family environment, just let it go. It's never worth worrying about. I mean, my family, I'm from England originally. I'm now in Australia. My family, I come from a family that used to fight and argue every Christmas Day. We used to dread Christmas Day because everybody would get drunk and start arguing. Came over here, I've built my family over here. Everybody's laid back. Yeah, look, we've got some black sheep in the family that you just go, oh my God, really? But then you just walk away and you just let it go. And that's something that you need to have in a business sense as well. Even though if you have somebody toxic in your network, I'll tell you now, you need to remove them. But you need to also be in a situation that water off a duck's back, I think is the phrase. If a client cancels a contract on you, do what you can to save it, but don't cry over it. Because if you cry over it, everybody else is going to see what's going on. People are going to start doubting you. You just go, okay, well, we tried, we didn't save it. Where's the next one going to come from? And it's about having that positivity. So, but I hate toxic people. I hate them.
Same here. And sometimes it really hurts when these toxic people are part of our closest friends, you see, because when we are starting a business on our own and those other friends are following the traditional route where they are doing like jobs or being an employee, they don't understand how we think, right?
And that's where you've got to have that arrogance. You will always, the problem is with I hate to say it, with family and friends when you run a business, is there's two things that are always going to come up. Number one, they want the friends and family discount. Okay, they always want something cheap. And you've got to say no. Because one of the things I learned very, very quickly, you've got your type A, B, C, D customers. If you take, every time you drop your pants on a price, every time you do a super duper deal for a friend or for family, it will take you 5 more customers to get back to the right profit margin. You're better off not doing a deal for your family or not dealing with family than giving them a discount. You always are. So that's one thing that you're always going to get. But what you're also going to get is, I don't know what the rest of the world call it. In Australia, we call it tall poppy syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that phrase?
Yeah, heard of it.
Okay. People don't want you to succeed.
Yeah.
They don't. They're sitting there doing their 9 to 5 boring job, 6 days a week. Spent 30 years paying off their mortgage. Their life is pretty boring. They've got to get on a train, spend an hour getting on a train. They work for somebody else, and they see somebody trying to break away from that. Most human nature is to hate that person. Yeah. And that's what we call tall poppy syndrome. You know, you've made it, or you're on the verge of making it. I want to cut you down. Yeah. It's a basic human emotion. It's effectively jealousy. Yeah. And again, it comes down to being arrogant and just moving on. This is why so many you hear about multi-level marketing companies selling isogenic, dramatics, all these sorts of things. Always amazed me when they turn around and said, sell to family and friends. Worst thing you can do. Yeah. Because if the product doesn't do what it's supposed to do, your family's going to hate you. Yeah. And you're selling to the people that you know will have tall poppy syndrome. And so they don't want to help you anyway. Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, toxic people and naysayers, you've just got to be arrogant and move on.
I think besides the multi-level marketing, insurance industry goes the same way. They always tell people to go for their family and friends.
Yeah, sell to family and friends. That's the worst thing you can do. It's never going to work. Never going to work.
Yeah. So Jay, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who have these money false beliefs? Because some of them thought that money is evil or money makes people bad, and that keeps them from wanting to succeed in their business. Do you see what I mean?
So I think what you've got to drill down there is it a fear of success, or is it, are they just using that? And I think that's probably the sort of thing that it is fear of success. Once you've got money, you don't think it's evil. You really don't. I mean, look, I'm not a multimillionaire. I don't make a lot of money. It covers my bills, pays for my car, I can eat, and I enjoy what I do. And that's what I want to get out of a business. You know, I don't want to be I don't want to be Richard Branson. I don't want to be Jeff Bezos. I don't want that. That sort of money, yeah, that corrupts. Okay. But at the end of the day, I think it's like I say, it's a fear of success. And a lot of people do actually have that. And to me, I think there's more fear of success than fear of failure in people. And that's where self-sabotage can come in. To me, I've done that. Sometimes I do sit back when I'm running my own business, or even I'm running other people's businesses, and I go, oh my God, I shouldn't be here. How did I get here? Everything's just going right, and it feels wrong because everything's going right. And that's just a self-sabotage response because you're outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. If anybody's feeling that, I've got one word of advice: let it ride. See where you go. Yeah. Nobody ever got upset because they made more money.
That's very true. But I think one thing very interesting just now you mentioned is that money corrupts. So do you think that if you have more money, you can actually grow your impact and grow NEI to a bigger scale to help more people?
Look, I probably could. I mean, I think we're probably taking a little. Maybe I shouldn't have said what I said. But I'm talking about when you're looking at people like Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, right? So Elon Musk, one of the world's richest men, and he's probably one of the world's biggest idiots. For somebody who's one of the world's most intelligent men, he's an idiot. He's not in contact. He's not in touch with what's going on out there normally. But exceptional business mind. You look at what he did and how he built it. He wanted to buy 2 rockets from the government, and the government wouldn't sell it to him. So he went to the Russians, and the Russians said, well, we want this much money. And he went, I could build an entire factory and build my own rockets for that. And that's where SpaceX came from. I've got to build them for this satellite I'm trying to launch. I might as well now create SpaceX. So his business brain is fantastic, but I think he's a little bit out of touch with modern man. You hear some of the stuff that he puts on Twitter. And I think if you've got too much money, it gets you to the point that you feel that you're above. It's like a king syndrome. I'm standing above everybody else. I mean, look, if I had more money, what I would do, would I go and buy multi-million-dollar mansions and sports cars? Probably not. What I would probably do is reinvest it back into network, educate, and invite to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. To me, my goal at the end of the day, I mean, look, I'm 52. I'm at that age. I'm overweight. I could drop dead at any time. I'm a smoker. I could drop dead at any time. But you can't take it with you, but you can leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if all of a sudden Network Educate Invite was making $1 million a year, I will put most of that back into the business. So the next year it made $2 million. And then the next year it made $4 million. So that when I died, my family will be well and truly taken care of. Yeah. So, you know, if we have more money, like I said, I don't want to be a multimillionaire. The lifestyle does not appeal to me. I would be bored. I'm one of these people. I need to be working at 5 o'clock in the morning. I've just got to get up and get on the computer and do something. But yeah, yeah. But like I said, as we were saying before, the people that think, oh, yeah, they're money shy, don't be. Don't be. If you get it, if you don't like it when you've got it, reinvest it back in your business. Put it over here. We have a thing called superannuation, which is a compulsory retirement. You can put money into that. You can buy a house for your kids. Do something right. No, like I say, nothing bad ever came from somebody having a little bit more money in their pocket.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true. Leaving a legacy, I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Jay, when you reflect back on your entrepreneur journey, right, what was the biggest setback that you have experienced?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. You know you're going to have to edit this now, don't you?
Yeah, no worries about that.
Yeah, so setbacks.
Yeah.
Probably most of my setbacks have been through self-sabotage, and that's just learning through a personal journey. I don't particularly want to go in depth on my personal level, but over the last 30 years, I've had many businesses. A lot have passed, a lot have failed. And the ones that have failed have been down to my personal mindset. I've got to the point on some of them where I've just given up. There's personal things in my life that I've allowed to take over my business decisions. And because of that does set you back. But as you grow as a business owner, as you grow as an entrepreneur, you realize that's a learning curve. Yeah. Every failure is a stepping stone again to success. So I have a business that has succeeded. I've got businesses that have failed. But then after that, I've had another one that succeeded. And they could actually be similar sorts of businesses, but they didn't fit the marketplace or the niche, or it wasn't the right time for me to actually be doing what I was doing. My heart may not have been in it. So it's always a personal journey. Your biggest setbacks will always be because of your own fault. Yeah. If something has gone wrong and it's not your fault, yeah, it's a setback, but it will not hurt you as much as if it's a personal setback. So as an example, if you decided you wanted to open a massive restaurant 2 years ago, and then COVID hit and it all fell apart, yeah, it'd feel bad, but there was nothing you could do about that. You would dust yourself off and you'd go back and you'd do something else, or you try again at a better time in a better environment. But when you know it's something that you've done, it's your own personal self-sabotage that has created that, that can affect you, and it takes you a little bit of time to get your confidence back up again and do that. Yeah. And if I do look back and go, right, what was the worst one of those? The worst one of those was a business that I was owning with my wife. Our relationship split up. We split up. The business just collapsed because the working relationship became untenable. We both fought when we were in the office, and I should never have done that. I should have never have gone into partnership with my wife. She could have gone in her own business. I could have done mine. She could have kept a job and I could have run the business. But to bring her in to work with me on a business, never do it with a relationship. It's like they say to coaches, never coach your partner, never coach your family, because you're too close. And it's the same when you're working with them. You don't run. A lot of businesses do succeed, but it's because they have the processes and they have the rules and the regulations in place. This is work. That's at home.
So would you say that it's hard to maintain objectivity when you are working with someone very close to you?
Look, I think it is personally, yeah.
Mm.
It's very difficult for, I think, anybody sometimes to separate personal life, personal and work when you're actually working together.
Mm. I think that's very true, because even if, like, for example, doctors, they don't want to operate on their own family members, right?
Yeah,
Have you heard
well, they're
of
not allowed to. In Australia and in the UK, where I was born originally, if your husband, my cousin married a doctor,
Okay.
so she married a doctor, and she had to, now, he was actually her doctor.
Oh.
Yeah, so she moved to an area, met him, was her doctor. As soon as they started dating, she, by law, had to go and find another doctor, because it's actually illegal. They're not allowed to do it, in case the husband decides, I'll give her some wrong drugs and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, you've got to be very, very careful if you're going to work a business with a relationship partner. But the same, even if you've got a relationship partner, you go into partnership with anybody in a business, you have to have the processes, you have to have the rules and the guidelines. This is work, that's outside. So when you walk into your office at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's work. I might completely have a go at you and rip your hat off because you've done something wrong. And at 5 o'clock, we're back having tea with the kids. Yeah, and we forget about work. And it's a very, very difficult. It can be done. And I know people that have done it, but they're very, very strict in how they do that. And if you can get that to work, it's actually more successful than doing it on your own, because you have two people that are succeeding towards the same goal. Yeah. So the money's going into the same house. Everybody's benefiting within the house.
Yeah. So when you do reflection, right, on your personal journey, what would you have done differently if given a choice to turn back time?
I think I would have trusted myself a lot more. I look at, even the businesses that succeed, and again, this comes down to mindset. That even the businesses that did succeed could have been bigger, could have been bigger, quicker, more successful, if I actually trusted my instincts a little bit more. I look back and now looking at it in hindsight, the ones that were successful always had a coach or a mentor. Yeah, the ones where I was really arrogant, thought I could do it myself, were the ones that failed. So the problem that you've always got is you've got to work in your business and you've got to work on your business, and finding where that line is very, very difficult unless you've got a coach or a mentor with you. Because a coach or a mentor will say, right, you're running your own business, you're going to have to work 60 hours a week. Okay. So what you need is you've got 40 hours a week that is face-to-face customer time. The other 20 hours a week, this is what you're going to do. So what you don't do is you're not going to work on your systems between 9 and 5. That's the time you need to be talking to the customers. Yeah, you work on your systems at this time. Whereas if you don't have anybody you're accountable to, mentors, coaches, you just go, oh, I've got an hour spare. I'll start playing with the systems, and you start typing away. And then all of a sudden, 3 hours have gone. And you've just lost 25% of your sales calls for the day. Yeah. So, yeah.
So what is the piece of advice you'll give to aspiring entrepreneurs to help them shorten their learning curve and help them to be more successful in a shorter time?
Self-development.
Sorry?
Read. Self-development.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, read. So look, always, like I said, get a coach, but do a lot of reading. So on the weekend, instead of reading the paper, read a self-help book. If you're on the train, if you've got an office and you've got to travel and you're on the train, read a self-help book. Just read these books. Read from business owners. And all of these books that are out there, I've got about 6, 7 books that I constantly reread. And the thing is, not one book to me has it right. But there's a little bit in each one of those books that I've taken away that have allowed me to become the person that I have. Yeah. So it really is about improving your education and your personal development. If you want to run a business and you've never run a business before, read business books. You've got to do it. You can't just go out and do it. It's not as simple as everybody thinks. Now, I'm not talking about reading books on bookkeeping or reading books about it. There's programs that can do that. There are people that will do that for you. But there's books out there, you know, on 21st century management. There's books out. What a real good book. I hate to say this again. We're cliches, but Rich Dad Poor Dad is a really good book to learn if you want to run a business, because it gives you that mindset of going from a job to being self-sufficient. Yeah, 90% of the book you'll go, this is boring, but then you'll pick something out of it and you go, oh my God, that's gold. Yeah, and it's about reading these books, all these classic books that are out there. There's even one that's a little bit controversial. So Jordan Peterson is a very controversial psychiatrist. He did his book called 12 Reasons. Some people call him racist, sexist, and the book itself is, it's a bit here and there, but there are some absolute gold nuggets in there about personal development. So it's worth reading it just to find those few. So yeah, if you want to succeed, every time you've got downtime, read. Turn Netflix off, get rid of it, read a book. If you're sitting out by the pool, read a book. Okay? The more you learn, the more successful you will be. You can't be a doctor without doing 6 years at university. Why? Because you've learned. Yeah. You can't run a business without learning.
So would you say that when going into a business, it's more important to get the mindset right first, rather than learning all those processes first?
You need to have the right mindset, because you can have the best processes in the world, but if your mindset's not there, you're not going to stick to those processes. Yeah,
very true.
You know, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve, and make sure that's with you at 5 o'clock every single morning. That's what I need to do today. Once you have got that ingrained into yourself, then you can put your systems in place to make that easier. But when you find you've got more time, you then need to bring another, this is what I need to do in to keep going. You don't go, this is what I'm going to do for a month, and then all of a sudden you only need to do half the work, and then just do half the work. You find something else to make you keep that momentum going and helping you expand. But yeah, your first thing you need to do, you have to have the right mindset.
I can't agree more. Yeah, so Jay, we are towards the end of our interview. So before that, right, I would like to ask you one more question. What is the one thing that you think that makes the biggest difference in your success towards your entrepreneurial journey?
Mindset. Yeah, and that's all it is. It's about mindset. I want, if people think about in a normal job, right? So let's move away from businesses at the moment.
Sure.
And you're in a job and you have a manager, right? Some managers you like, some you cannot stand. A good manager that you will like will have a confidence about them. Sometimes they go a little bit too far and they become arrogant and they become bullies. Some of them don't go far enough and you have no respect for them. Okay, so the people that have that right amount of confidence and knowledge become successful at work, and you respect them. All right, business is the same. Yeah, you have to have that right amount of knowledge and confidence to go through. If you're too arrogant, and I know I'm arrogant, which is why I have a coach to stop me being arrogant, but you have to find that level. And you've got to find that level that's productive, that works well with other people, has some form of empathy, yeah, which plays a big part if you're managing people, but still makes you money. That's what you've got to do. We can have too much empathy and give our product away. You're not going to be in business much longer there.
Yeah.
But you may have somebody locked into a contract, and really you don't want to let them. It's called a contract for a reason. but there may be mitigating circumstances as to why they cannot keep that contract. So you need that empathy to go, okay, I'll let you out of that contract. And it's all about finding that balance. So if you're trying to build a business and go, what sort of leader am I going to be? Think about your favorite manager. Yeah, because if you can be like your favorite manager, you will succeed.
That's very good advice, Jay. Yeah, Jay, I find it very interesting that you keep saying that you are arrogant.
I am.
So I would like to make the distinction, because people who are very confident and very capable, sometimes they can be perceived as arrogant. So what do you say about that?
Look, you use the perfect word. It's perceived. Yeah. In business, I've got some people that love me for my confidence. I've got some people that hate me for my arrogance. But I'm no different. I'm the same person. So it's all about the perception of the other person.
All right.
Yeah. So, but I don't let that bother me because I can't control that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always been confident. I've always been the showman. I've always been the salesman. And some people just can't handle it, and they call me arrogant. Yeah. I can be a little bit over the top, but no, I know I'm right. My family are just, oh my God, here he goes again. If I'm one of these people, we'll sit there having an argument, and I know I'm right. So I will go, right, Google, prove a point. That's the sort of thing that I get. But again, it's all about the perception of other people. Like I said, I'm the same. Some people love my confidence. Some people hate my arrogance.
Yeah.
But I'm still actually the same person. It's where they put me on their scale. Yeah. But because of my mindset, I don't care. Those guys that hate me, I don't care. Don't deal with me. Yeah. Most of them still do, because they know that I'm helping them, even though they don't like me. Yeah. As long as you, and that's why I can have that confidence and that arrogance, because I know the service that I provide, because I'm providing the basic level service for free. I don't care what you think. If you don't like it, go away, because you're not going to find what I've got anywhere else.
Yeah. That resonates with me very much, because I've had people calling me arrogant some of the times as well.
Yeah, but it's all about their perception. That's all it is. Like I say, somebody who's confident is arrogant. One's man is another man's murder, all that sort of stuff. It's all about other people's perceptions, and you cannot change people's perceptions.
All right.
You just change how you react to those perceptions.
Yeah. And we tend to attract people of the same frequency and vibrations as us, right?
You certainly do. You certainly do.
Okay, Jay, so before we end off the interview, would you like to tell the audience how can they find out more about you?
Okay, so look, probably the best thing to do is actually come to the Network Educate via platform. That way you can connect with me. You can see what it is that we actually do. It's free to join. So that's just at networkeducateinvite.com.au.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing your wisdom and your experiences.
No worries. It's a pleasure to be on here. Thanks, Herek.
Yeah, my pleasure to have you as well. I hope that next time we'll have the chance to have you back as well for another interview.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, Jay. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.